Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, where we bring you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation every week. Featuring expert consultants and small business owners who have found success but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their firsthand experience. Now, let's get down to business on Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Business Banking at Jovia Financial Credit Union, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, CEO, keeper of the brand, marketing and digital agency.
We're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship. We bring you weekly business advice, tips, tools, and services that help you grow your business. Plus, we interview some of the top business leaders in the industry.
And helping us with business empowerment today is a very good friend of mine. I'm very excited to have her on the show. She is a personal development and leadership expert, and her name is Donna Sirianni. She's founder and CEO of Moving Forward Strategies, and her expertise includes living leadership, personal development for business leaders, and accountability for the C-suite and company training. So, Donna, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited.
Well, we're very excited. DV, I had the pleasure of attending the Living Leadership Seminar with Donna, and I got to tell you what a difference it's made for my productivity, for my habits. I'm very excited to have her on here to kind of talk about things. So, again, welcome aboard. Why don't you give us a little bit of information about how you kind of got started with this journey with moving forward and why you chose to go into this area?
A very interesting journey, actually. I'm here on campus with you, and it's nostalgic to me because I was here 32 years ago, and I think graduated around the same time you did. I originally came here because I was going to go into chiropractic. My father was a chiropractor at the time, and I started tutoring some students, and they got really excited and like, oh, I get it now. And so I switched from being a chiropractor to going into teaching. So I wound up going to Stony Brook after this, and I went into teaching for about 10 years. And this really arose, I guess, maybe subconsciously out of teaching, because as I would teach my students, I was always threading empowerment and wanting them to believe in themselves. And I would say in the back of my head, wow, I wish I could just teach this subject. I wish I could have classes just on, like, I guess, I didn't know at the time it was called personal development, but just making them believe in themselves and like those foundational things. And so fast forward, I had resigned from teaching. I had always planned to do that when I wanted to start a family. I still love teaching, stayed home with my family, was a stay-at-home mom for a while. I always had an entrepreneurial spirit, so I was always starting these little businesses while I was in college, while I was home. And about 10 years ago, I said, you know what? I'm going to take all I've learned being a teacher and how people learn and curriculum development, my passion for people, and create my business now. And that's where Moving Forward Strategies came about. And so now I am absolutely teaching things that I love. And so that's what I'm doing now.
So give us an example for those out there and for me who's just meeting you, Donna. You know, what is your expertise? Like, what is your subject matter expert? What do people come to you to say, I need Donna?
So what I truly believe, especially when you have your own business or you're in any type of leadership position within a company, that personal development is the foundation. And I always say, in order to be successful, you have to work on two things. You have to work on your business and you have to work on you. And what I do is the you part. Whether it's creating personal development seminars or doing coaching one-on-one, that mindset that you have and your belief systems and the habits that you create for yourself, that is the foundation of your success. So whatever trade you're in or whatever field you're in, you can learn things, but unless you have that foundation of that personal development and that mindset, you're not going to carry it through. So it is so important, and I believe it is the foundation of people's success. So yeah. That's
fantastic. And what are some of the misconceptions about what you do?
I think that sometimes people say, well, oh, that's an extra thing. If I want to invest in that, that's an extra thing. But it's really not. It's really, like I said, it's the foundation. And when you incorporate this, whether you're a business leader, If you're a business leader, you know you've been in your office and you've closed the door and you've had to think, what initiatives do I want to do? How do I create this? And you're doing all this self-talk and having to believe in yourself. And then how do I get other people on board? And you have all these thoughts and these emotions that go on. And it's the personal development, tune-ups and transformations that I offer that really could help you hone in and be even a stronger leader and be able to put forth those initiatives in a powerful way.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where the rubber hits the road, because that's what I experienced going through one of your seminars, was that it was stuff that was core stuff. It was like a core workout for me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I've been through a lot of different sales trainings, and, each one of them, there's good stuff, there's nuggets that you pick up. But what I thought was a differentiator, at least for me, was that it was something that applied to my day-to-day life. It was something that was ingrained in my behaviors. So it's changing all of that. It wasn't just, all right, well, to be successful, you got to do this, this, and this. It was like changing my behaviors to wrap around something.
One of the things that I really focus on, and as far as my process when I sit down, is how can I make this as personal as possible for the people that are taking this seminar, right? So I don't come in and just present information and then you listen to it and you absorb 5% and you go home. I say, okay, how can I get them engaged? What discussions can I make them have? What kind of activities can they do? How can I have them reflect in a journal, whatever this topic is as it pertains to their personal life and their leadership, and then work from that so that everybody really has, even though we're all together and we're connecting, everybody has their own individual experience, so they feel like, oh, I could use this right away because this has to do with my personal life and what the things that I'm going through. So I think that my education background really helped in teaching me to how to teach others so that they're engaged and that it's very personal to them and it's meaningful to them when they walk out.
Can you kind of take us through your process? I mean, obviously there's different topics, so there might be a different process for different topics, but can you take us through like your general process for how you take people through their learning?
So I kind of look at it like a journey, and I think the first thing I do is I'll sit down and I'll say, okay, what do I want them to get out of it? How can I make this topic personal to them? What's really important, and how could I have them walk away with something personal? Then I start with some kind of discussion, so for them to initiate why this is important to them, how will this impact their lives, so that they're kind of open already in the beginning. I lay the foundation for when we're in a room, the expectations we have as a group, and being present for each other, caring about each other, leaving the egos at the door and just being there and not judging anybody, because we do have small group discussions. And then I say, okay, what activities can I create so that I can take whatever topic I'm talking about and they could attach it to their personal life and relate it to their personal life. And then how do I want them to feel? So I'll go through like they may be reflective and think about, well, what are the challenges that I have? And then what are possibilities? And then by the end, wow, these are solutions. So it's almost, I look at it like a little script or a little movie that I want to take them through, and I want certain emotions. I introduce music as well, so the lyrics, and I put that together when they're doing certain activities. So it's what do I want them to learn, and how do I want them to feel, and what do I want them to take away?
Now, you also have a charitable contribution that's involved in some of the work that you're doing too, correct?
Yes. So I definitely feel if you have a platform, it's great to be able to introduce these, or just highlight different charities. So the one I have a Living Leadership seminar coming up next Friday, and the charity we're highlighting is Angela's House. So the first one was actually LLS, which you and I have connected with, right? Yeah. So every month is a different charity, and we'll highlight them and we'll donate a portion of the proceeds to them. And it's just, I've been meeting incredible people that way, and that are doing so many good things in the world. So I love to have them to be part of this.
Now, you mentioned your personal development seminars. Tell us a little bit more about that. What does it look like?
I'll give you an example of one that I haven't done yet. So I have one coming up called Stress, Kicking It to the Curb. And we all have that, right? So whether it's work,
I don't know anything about stress.
Yeah, I don't know anything about stress.
Absolutely not.
I just teach it. I don't know anything about stress. Believe me, I have 3 teenagers. No, okay. All right. So thank God I teach it, because I remind myself. So what I'll do is, instead of talking about in general, oh, these are stressors and these are things that you can do, you can meditate, which are all really good and things that you utilize, I will have people come in and I'll say, okay, ready? I want you to write down everything stressing you out. All the people stressing you out, the thoughts in your head stressing you out, work, home, family life. And I have the song Stressed Out played in the background. And so everybody's writing down. I got to add that.
I hope you have a lot of paper.
Yeah. Sometimes like, can I turn the paper over? I'm like, yeah, no problem. I get that. So I'll have them write down everything stressing them out. And then we will work off of that. So it's personal. So we'll talk about what are the things that you could control, what are the things you cannot control. We'll discuss that as a group. We'll discuss that in pairs. And then we go back to that list and say, okay, well, now you decided what you can and can't control. Cross off the things on the list you can't control. Because now, if you still are stressed out, then you're creating your own suffering. And then people might say, well, it's hard to let some of this stuff go. So I do different activities and things to kind of let them learn how to release these certain stresses that they have that they can't control. I'll bring them through a visualization. If you had the stress and you kept it 20 years from now, how it's going to affect you. And I'll bring them through a visualization. And then we go back on the list and then we say, okay, now that you crossed off the things you can't control, the things that you can control, you're stressed out about. What's good about that means you can control it. So you're probably just paralyzed and just saying, oh, I don't know what to do. But let's talk about some action items here for each of those things you can control, because once you start taking action on those, you'll start feeling empowered and the stress will go away. So it's kind of just taking everybody through that feeling so that by the end, they have their own personalized list of, all right, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to let go of. This is how I can let go. And these are the things I can control. And now maybe I have an accountability buddy now to make sure that I'm going to control, like we might do something like that in the group. So that's just an example of the flow of one of the seminars. But every seminar is a different topic that we dive into.
You are listening to Tara Talk Business Radio on the voice of National Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Donna Sirianni, founder and CEO of Moving Forward Strategies. So I'd love to see, because I know how it applied to me, and when I went through your work, but could you share with us a story of someone who went to one of your seminars or someone that you've worked with personally who you've seen an impact and how that affected them?
Yeah, sure. So one of the seminars that I had, we talked about values, and everybody identified their own personal values. We might have values in a company, and these are our values, and these are what we do. But I was talking about, well, what's your personal values? What's important to you in life? What's your personal mission statement? So I had someone that attended one of the seminars say, you know what? I figured out my values in your seminar, and that really helped me to make a decision. I had two different opportunities and two different kind of paths in my career that I wanted to take. But in understanding what my values are and then lining up my values with my choices, it totally helped me make my decision. And I feel completely congruent, aligned, and good about it now, because this means something to me. It's aligned with who I am and what I believe in. So that made me feel amazing. I was so happy for him. And then another client that I worked with, a CEO of a very large company, and he wanted to focus a lot personally, like things that were going on besides his business. So usually when I work with a CEO and I'm doing coaching, we work on the business side of it and we work on the personal side of it. So for this person, they wanted to connect more with their family, and they were always busy. So we talked about all these possibilities and things they could do with their family. And long story short, he wound up moving into the house he always wanted to move in with his family. He made Taco Tuesdays with his daughter. He set up vacations with his kids. And we just talked about scheduling, how in business we schedule, we have a meeting, we always make sure we show up and we're responsible that way. You have to do the same thing with your family. When you start scheduling things, it becomes real. So I'm very humbled, and I'm so thankful that he said that made a huge shift in his life, and that, he didn't necessarily expect all these big shifts personally, but it's just made him so much happier. So I look at everything I do as it's a privilege and an honor to serve, and I come from that place. So I'm so happy when I hear feedback from things that people applied in that work.
Namaste.
Yes.
Right? So I feel like, you are the professional development guru. Right.
I'm not a guru. I would say guru.
It sounds like
I
guru,
figured a few things
right?
out. I have to remind myself as well sometimes.
People are definitely tapping into you, and what you do, your work and services are somewhat experiential.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get folks to understand the benefits? Because you are really, feeding into them. There's nothing really tangible, and people love tangible items. So is there a book? Is there like an ebook? Is it you? Like, what's your secret sauce? How do you really get people to understand, like, okay, you need this service? come to me, let me help you?
Well, gratefully, thank God, I've built a really great network of awesome people. I've met a lot of people in the business world, and that's always my thing, is trying to get the word out. And then once you come in and experience it, then at least you have an experience of it. So a lot of it is word of mouth and on social media and trying to get people in that way. But once they experience it, the feedback I'll get is, oh, this is so different. This is not a networking thing. This is not, even though you are connecting with people, other business leaders that are like-minded, it's not necessarily set up like that. And it's just so different. Like, I did a seminar yesterday, and they're like, for this company, and they said, I've never seen them talk to each other like this. Like, this is how do you get them to do this? And I have them stand up and sit down, and it's just great to see. I love seeing like the humanity of it, and the people caring about each other and smiling and talking and helping each other, trying to help each other figure things out based on the topic that we're doing. So coming in and experiencing it, that's the best way to do it, I would say.
Sounds like you need to do this for families as well.
Yeah. I agree. It's funny, I wrote that down as we were talking. I wrote down scheduling with family because, my wife's very good at that. She'll schedule time that we have to do things. But, I agree. It's just scheduling that time to talk.
Yeah.
You schedule time to do bills. You schedule time for, outside family to come in, but you don't schedule time for yourselves to really kind of talk about things. So I love that. I love that idea.
Right.
Now, what are the biggest challenges that you face in doing what you do every day?
I think, like you said before, getting people to understand. I think once they experience it, whether it's the coaching or the seminars, it's like it's a thing that they know they need to do, but they don't do it. So how do we get them to see, like, hey, come to a seminar 2 hours a month to take time out for yourself is okay, right? Like Warren Buffett said, the best thing to do, the most important investment is to invest in yourself. Yes. He's saying that for a reason. And we're all so busy. We have meetings, we have this, we have things scheduled, we have to, whatever it is that we're doing in our business and our lives. But it's okay to take 2 hours for yourself. It's nothing. And hopefully what I create can have that. I look, how can I make the biggest impact on someone in 2 hours where they could take something away? But it's not a lot of time to just refresh, to tune up, to meet other people who also want to better themselves. And you're just constantly bringing your best self to the table by incorporating this into your life.
Love it. You know what? The authentic testimonials that you get, I think that really does weigh in quite a bit. I think that I know for myself personally, when you get that testimonial, it really does validate, okay, I'm on the right track here. I'm doing something that's helpful.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. So what do you like most about what you do? To me, it's pretty obvious, but
I love watching the people interact. I love watching them have aha moments. I love when they're doing something and they hit me on the shoulder. They go, I was thinking I need to like focus on this, and now I understand why I have to do this. Or there's some kind of insight or aha moment. So it's the teacher in me still. So those moments when people are writing and they're reflecting, or they're talking, or they're smiling, or they say, I never thought of it this way. I love that. I'm on a high after I do a seminar, and even when I coach. So anytime people have that aha moment or they're connecting, and I just say, wow, with all the craziness going on in the world, in this room right now, everybody's caring about each other. Everybody's trying to be a better person. Nobody's judging each other. And I feel so fortunate to be a part of that and to help facilitate that. So that's what I get out of it. I just love it. I just want more people to come, so there's more people that feel good, So that's
And what type of people did you like working with the most? Are you targeting specific types of companies? Do you like working with CEOs more? Do you like working with folks like myself, who are...
I always like working with you.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Or business owners or the people who are like tellers at the bank, or like, who do you like working with?
So I like working with business leaders or anybody that's in a leadership position. So even if it's a manager, a director, a CEO, business development person in charge of business development, but anybody that can have an impact on others, because then it's kind of like a domino effect. If I can help them, then they could take that back and they could use that to help others. So that creates kind of a domino effect when it comes to the seminars. As far as doing one-on-one coaching, I do mindset and accountability coaching. So I've worked with partners and CEOs, entrepreneurs. I really like also working with people who were just promoted to a position, because a lot of times when they're promoted, they don't have anybody there to really work with them. And they feel like in my experience, I got this promotion and oh my God, I have to actually do this now. Now I have to really step up. And so I love being there with them and helping them to step up into that position to do that and follow through and just be the best leader. And so they feel confident that, yes, you deserve this position and you can do that. So I like working with people doing that as well.
What are some of the accomplishments you're most proud of?
So like I said, just the different experiences that they have. It's what I like about this. It's a pretty immediate feedback. So I can have a seminar and right away I can feel the energy of the room. I can see the shifts. They'll talk to me right after the seminar and say, oh, I really got this out of it and that out of it. And that's what I love. Or if I'm working with somebody one-on-one and the next time we meet, they say, oh yeah, I did do this and this worked out. Or it's just that it's really immediate. I'm able to see that right away. So I love that, the ability to be able to do that it happens like that.
And when you're working with clients, do you know when you have a breakthrough moment?
They have the breakthrough moment, right? So I always look at it, I'm not here to motivate or push. I'm here to try to inspire and find it within them, because if you change within yourself, that's a real change, right? So when you leave me, you're going to go on with the rest of your life. So if I can help somebody to inspire them to find the shifts that they have to make within themselves, that's what really sticks.
You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Donna Sirianni, founder and CEO of Moving Forward Strategies. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwetz on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Now, who else do you partner with?
So I work with sponsors as well. And so any individual, whether you're an individual person or you're a large company, if you're aligned with the messaging that I'm putting out there and what I want to do and how I want to help, I'm always looking for people to partner up and to work with me that way as far as sponsorship, to align yourself with another company, which is my company that's positive and is trying to have a positive effect. So if your company or your firm is aligned with that, then I always welcome to work with those kind of people that are open-minded and want to make a difference for their people in their business.
Yeah, Jovia was a proud sponsor.
Jovia was a sponsor. Yes,
we were very excited.
You guys are awesome. Seriously, yes. All your people are so happy, and they're just like they work together so great. So yeah, you had sponsored one of the events, and then I had talked at one of your events also about they brought me in about how to structure the seminar. But the people are awesome at Jovia. I love them, really. And you have the best personality. You just have such a great presence, and everybody knows it. So you're really incredible, and it shows in the leadership that you have and the people around you. So.
Oh, well, thank you for
He'll pay you later for
I will definitely pay you later. Well, I'm lucky. I'm grateful that we have a lot of nice folks that we work together, and it definitely makes a big difference in the day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, you're a great ambassador.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, one of the other things that I think is awesome, and I wanted to allude to, is some of the partnerships that you have and the other experts that you bring in to discuss different topics. For example, when we're discussing habits, professional habits and personal habits, you brought in Brian Cohen, you brought in a couple of others. So can you tell us about some of those partnerships that you also kind of intertwine into your work?
Well, I think that was at Donna Drake at Drake Media Studios.
Yes.
So that's where we have the seminars this year at Drake Media Studios. So Jovia hired Donna Drake to put that on and bring people in, and that's where she had brought me in as one of the partners to help out with Jovia. So she kind of put that together and brought in Brian and worked together. But yeah.
I love that, just because you touched on so many different areas, and it really it was a very well-rounded program. So,
look, you have some heavy hitters. You have Donna Drake, you have Donna Sirianni, and then you have.
And her venue is really great too. So we have the Living Leadership seminars for business leaders at her studio, and I love that because I want to take people out of the corporate environment and put them in a really cool TV studio, different creative kind of place, and kind of shake it up a little bit. So I love having these seminars there. It's really fun.
And I think that's hugely important, because it's interesting. Sometimes I'll have the opportunity to guest in department meetings. So you're in a department meeting and you're speaking with employees, and you want it to be interactive, and you're seeing that, okay, it's interactive to a certain degree, but everybody's still worried because the boss is in the room. And you're still your work desk is right over here. So you're still in that work mindset. But when you take people out of that and you put them in an atmosphere that's a bit more, not playtime, but a bit more open.
It's different. Yeah, it is more like even here. I'm in a radio station and a TV station. That the lights, the microphones, it's all cool. It's different, So I think that's important because sometimes I feel like we can be very stiff in what we do. And in order to really lead and be creative, we have to open up. We have to have that creative space that we feel safe in. So creating that safe space for everybody is really important too, to just be able to talk and to think and give ideas. And so, like you said, taking them out of the typical corporate environment, it makes a big difference, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed.
Now, what are some of the things that you want to do next? What's in the future for Living Leadership?
So it is really getting the word out because I just launched this part of my business a few months ago. So I would like to get anybody that is into personal development, you read the books, you go to seminars, like I want to find those entrepreneurs, those business leaders, and just grow this. On the personal side, also, we may be doing something also with K-Joy and the general public of Long Island and bringing these types of seminars focused on the day-to-day and, how do we now develop our personal growth with the day-to-day and the family and all of that. So that's something that's on the horizon, I think. So we'll see.
We can't wait to hear more.
Yes, I would love that. We would definitely tune in.
How do you get people to disconnect? There's so much noise in their lives. You mentioned working with CEOs, but sometimes in order to stop down, to take your professional development seminar, to actually have them sit in a seminar and put their phones aside, how do you get them to disconnect? Do you have ground rules? Do you set the tone for the day?
100% has to be done, right? Or else everybody's going to be on their phones and still thinking about other things. So at the beginning of every seminar, I elicit from the audience, okay, what are the things we're going to agree on to make this work for everybody? What's important? So I'll start off by saying being present, meaning no phones, you're present, you're here, right? And then I'll say, what else is important? And someone will say, be open-minded, be supportive, don't be judgmental, have fun, do the activities, be engaged. So I'll elicit all these things from everybody there. So now we all agree this is the tone we're going to set. And it's really important since it is personal development and you are being vulnerable and being vulnerable as a leader is huge, is really important. So you're also having an opportunity to be vulnerable. And the stage has to be set where it's like, hey, we all have stuff that have gone on in our lives. We all have a past. We all have experiences. Nobody's been in each other's shoes, so we cannot judge anybody. We're here to help everybody move forward, help them feel comfortable, and not to judge. So that is something I talk about every single seminar. And I think the feedback I get is, I felt really comfortable. I can't believe you got a room full of CEOs to talk about this stuff or business leaders to talk about this. And I actually did. And, now we're having lunch together. Let's say they're having lunch. And the relationships that they're forming in this room, which is another thing I love watching, are just they're deeper and they're more meaningful because you really are getting to know things about this other person. And when two people could be vulnerable with each other and then support each other to grow, that's a bond that's amazing. That matters. Like that's the real meat and potatoes of relationships. So to form business relationships like that, I think is just terrific too, because if people are going there to improve on themselves and they're being open and vulnerable and they want to constantly get better, well, how do they run their business or how do they lead? Probably along the same lines. They just want to keep everything growing and want to help people become better because they're doing that for themselves. So why not maybe do business with this person? I wonder what that would be like. So that's another, I think, benefit of the leaders coming together.
Donna, where can we find information about you?
You can go to movingforwardstrategies.com, and on there, I always have the latest Living Leadership seminar you can sign up for, or you can personally email me at donna@movingforwardstrategies.com.
Donna Sirianni, founder and CEO of Moving Forward Strategies. And I'll leave you with DB's philosophy. Walt Disney, all of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them.
We want to thank you for being with us. My name is Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, your co-host and producers. Visit nccradio.org for more information. We're available on Odyssey, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and as a podcast on iTunes, Android Podcasts, and Spreaker. This has been Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.